Listen to this. It's only 30 more a month. I'm going to show you how the monthly can be presented in a way that feels fine, and how to spot deals that can leave you stuck even if you pay on time. That's the monthly only lens. Add-ons often get translated into a tiny monthly bump, so it feels harmless. Gap coverage, extended warranty, paint protection, wheel protection. One at a time, the payment stays reasonable while the amount financed inflates. Here's what can be easy to miss in the conversation. Even if you never miss a payment, those add-ons can keep your balance higher for longer. When the car gets totaled, stolen, or you just need to sell, the numbers can fail to line up. You'll learn to check two numbers that matter more than the monthly payment: what you'll owe later and what the car would actually sell for. Once you see that gap, you stop buying only a few. What's the most common add-on that creates one of the biggest invisible balances? Here's what makes this feel so unfair. You are not saying yes to $2,000 in that moment. A lot of people would hesitate to approve a $2,000 add-on in cash terms. You are saying yes to about 30 or 40 more a month, and you are tired. You want to go home. You already argued about the color. You already did the credit pull. The car is right there. The keys are right there too. So the whole conversation gets squeezed down to one number you can tolerate, and that number is not the whole story. If a dealership says, "We can keep you at the same payment," what usually changes to make that work? There's one line item that can raise what you're financing without changing the monthly much. And there's one question that drags the conversation away from monthly and into real life. Instantly. Stay with me, because once you can see the exit math, you stop letting the monthly be the only filter. Here's the moment that hits you in the gut. You leave the lot feeling like you were careful. You kept the payment under control. Then a random Tuesday shows up and you just need out. So you pull up a real trade-in offer. Then you pull up your loan payoff. And the two numbers do not match. Not even close. You are not shopping for a car anymore. You are shopping for an exit. That's the part that isn't always emphasized in the showroom. The monthly can make it easy to miss what you'll owe versus what it's worth. In plain English, the monthly only lens is when the whole deal gets filtered through one question. Can you make the monthly fit my life right now? Not, is this a good deal? Nor, how long am I tied to this? And look, you do need a monthly that fits. You cannot pay with vibes. The check has to clear. But what frustrates me is how the monthly becomes a magic wand. If the payment lands in a range that feels safe, you relax. Your shoulders drop and you stop pushing. That's why the paperwork can make the monthly feel like the headline. Quick thing before we jump in. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't personal financial advice. I'm just translating this stuff for education and entertainment, based on research and the real-world experience people run into with car loans. In the sales conversation and payment quotes, the monthly is what gets emphasized. Make sure you also read the truth in lending numbers, like amount financed and total of payments. The amount financed is a line you can miss if you are not looking for it. This isn't about you being bad with money or something like that. This is about attention. That room can create a lot of attention pressure. Let's zoom out and build the payment from scratch. Because once you see the bait, you stop confusing manageable with safe. Here's how the monthly gets built in real life. There are a few levers that can change your monthly without making the deal better. Lever 1, how long you stretch it. A longer term can make a bigger loan feel friendly. In Experience Q3 2025 data, the average monthly payment was $748 for a new car and $532 for a used car. Average terms were about 69 months new and 67 months used. 6-ish years for a thing that typically starts depreciating right away. Lever 2, the rate. Same car with same price. Different rate and different monthly. And the scary part is you can lower the monthly while raising the total cost just by stretching the term. Lever 3, the down payment. Put more down, borrow less, monthly drops. Put less down, borrow more, monthly rises. Lever 4, trade-in math. If you have a trade, it can either reduce what you borrow or it can quietly do the opposite. We'll get there. Lever 5, rolling stuff in. Every only becomes part of the loan, which means you are not just paying for the add-on. You are paying interest on the add-on. Here's the part most people miss because it can be framed like kindness. It's only 30 to 40 more a month, but you are really being asked, do you want to increase the amount you borrow for the next 6 or 7 years? If something adds $30 a month and you finance it for 72 months, that's $2,160 extra in payments right there. If it's 84 months, it's $2,520. The monthly stayed cute, but the bill got bumpy. Now, multiply that by 4 boxes on the menu. This is why people walk out feeling like they negotiated. they did negotiate. They negotiated the monthly. They did not negotiate the exit. That low monthly feels like a victory, but there's a catch. You are locked in longer than your life stays the same. Because life is not a 72-month plan. Your job shifts, a family member gets sick, relationship ends, anything can happen, and suddenly the car seat situation matters. And the loan does not care. The problem is simple. The car's value often falls faster than your balance at the beginning. So there is a stretch of time where selling the car is not sell the car. It's sell the car and bring a check. And in our time, stretching the term is not rare. Experian reported that in Q3 2025, nearly 30% of new vehicle loans ran 73 to 84 months, and about 2.3% ran more than 85 months. When someone says we can make the monthly work, what can be happening is the deal feels doable by pushing cost into the future, basically stretching the clock in a way you may not actually get to enjoy. Because the longer the term, the longer you are exposed to one brutal fact. The world can change faster than your balance drops. This is the freedom cost. Not, you paid too much for the car. It's, you lost the ability to change your mind without paying a penalty. Let's talk about the trade-in negative equity spiral, because this is where the monthly-only lens really shows its teeth. Yesterday's debt and tomorrow's car. Picture two piles. Pile 1 is the car you are leaving, what you still owe on it. Pile 2 is the car you are buying, the out-the-door price, taxes, and fees. When your trade-in is worth less than what you owe, there is a gap. That gap does not evaporate when you hand over the keys. Sometimes it gets rolled in so the monthly impact can look small. Edmunds reported that in Q3 2025, 28.1% of trade-ins toward new car purchases had negative equity, and the average negative equity amount hit $6,905. Read that again in human language. More than 1 in 4 people trading in for a new car were already underwater, and the average underwater amount was nearly $7,000. Here is how you end up paying for a car you do not even own anymore. Check this out with round numbers. Say you still owe $28,000 on your current loan. The trade-in offer is $22,000. That means you're short $6,000. If you trade it in anyway, the dealership will pay off your old loan as part of the deal. If you don't cover that $6,000 gap in cash or extra down payment, it typically gets rolled into the next loan. Now, your new purchase is not just the new car, it's the new car plus the old gap. And this is where the monthly-only lens becomes a pattern you can repeat without realizing. Because if the new loan is stretched long enough and the monthly lands in the range you wanted, it can look like nothing happened. You drove in with one payment and drove out with one payment, but the balance under that payment got heavier. Edmunds even compared borrowers who rolled negative equity into a new loan. Their average monthly payment was $907 in Q3 2025, and they finance more than typical buyers. The lesson is this: if you roll old debt forward, you are buying the next car with yesterday's bill still attached. When you hear, "we can keep you around the same monthly," do not feel relieved yet, because same monthly can be built with a longer clock and a bigger balance. Which brings us back to that finance office menu. The deal can look clean at the desk, but there's a catch. That menu is not just options, it is debt if you roll it into the loan. The add-on that often creates one of the biggest easy-to-miss balances is a service contract, often called an extended warranty, because it can cost hundreds to thousands, frequently one of the pricier items in the finance menu. In a 2025 CFPB report analyzing a data set of auto loans from 2018 to 2022, add-ons were very common. Over 70% of service members and non-service members bought at least one add-on, and warranty service and maintenance plans were the most common and highest priced category. That is a specific group, so do not treat it as a national average. But it shows you the pattern. Add-ons are not a rare upsell there. They can be a normal part of the pitch, and I want you to hear this clearly. Some add-ons can be useful for some people. If you keep cars a long time, or you do not have spare cash for a surprise repair, a service contract might feel like stability. But when you roll it into the loan, it changes one thing that matters more than the monthly. It changes how hard it is to get out, because you are financing the add-on with interest over years. So that $2,000 service contract is not a $2,000 decision anymore. It is a loan decision. And then there's GAP. GAP is meant to cover the difference between what you owe and what your insurance typically pays if the car is stolen or totaled. That sounds boring until you picture the moment you actually need it. Most standard policies pay actual cash value. Your loan payoff is based on what you still owe. If your payoff is higher than the value, you have a problem. Gap is meant to fill that gap. I am not here to yell, never buy Gap. I am here to say, if you need Gap because the balance is likely to be higher than the value, that is already telling you something about the deal you are signing. And if Gap is rolled into the loan, you are also paying interest on a product that protects you if your car is totaled or stolen while you're underwater. That is a weird circle. This is the box I warned you about, which is the amount financed box. Because most fees or add-ons you roll into the loan increase the amount financed, and any old balance you roll forward shows up there too. And once the amount financed goes up, the exit gets farther away, even if the monthly barely moves. Hear me out. There's one question that instantly drags the conversation away from monthly and into reality. Can you write down the out-the-door price and the amount financed before we talk monthly? Say it slow, then stop talking. Pause. Tap like this video so it's sitting in your liked videos when you're at that desk, because those two lines are reality. If someone won't put those on paper, that is not a small detail. That's a major warning sign. So here's the exit check checklist. Buy the exit, not the moment. Check 1. What is the total out-the-door price? Not the before taxes or the if you qualify. The number that includes everything. Check 2. What are the term and the rate? If the term is long, admit what that means. It means you are paying for flexibility with future stress. If the rate is high, admit what that means too. It means every extra you roll in gets more expensive. Experience Q3 2025 averages were 6.56% for new loans and 11.40% for used loans. Rates can be much higher for lower credit tiers. Experian even showed deep subprime averages above 20% on used loans. That is not just a little interest. It is really heavy. Check 3. After your first year of payments, roughly what will you still owe? And what would this car sell for in the real world? You do not need to predict the future perfectly. Just stop pretending depreciation is a surprise. Ask for a payoff estimate after 12 payments. Ask for the amortization schedule, or at least what your principal balance will be after a year. Then compare that to a realistic resale number, not a random number you found online. Private party, trade-in, whatever is most relevant to your life. If those two numbers are close, you have options. If they are far apart, you are buying a deal that can be hard to exit. That monthly number can obscure your way out. One more rule that saves people in the moment. Do not negotiate on monthly until the out-the-door price, the term, the rate, and the amount financed are written down. Because once the monthly is on the table, everything becomes only 15 more, only 30 more. And suddenly you are financing a stack of onlys for the next 6 years. If a dealership says, we can keep you at the same payment, what usually changes to make that work? You can win the monthly, but there's a catch. Same payment often means the clock resets. You did not just buy a car, maybe the term got longer, or the rate got higher than you noticed. Probably the amount financed went up because the old loan gap got glued onto the new one. Likely a service contract and a few fees got rolled in, and the monthly stayed calm because the timeline got stretched. And then you do it again in 3 years because the car does not fit your life anymore. After you try to trade it in, you are still looking at that ugly mismatch between what it is worth and what you owe. So you roll it again. That is why paying on time does not automatically mean you are winning. On-time payments mean you followed the agreement. They do not guarantee the agreement was good for you. Here's the clean way to break the pattern. Stop asking, can I afford the monthly? Start asking, can I afford to leave? Because your life is allowed to change. You are allowed to get out of a vehicle that no longer makes sense. And the goal is to not have a loan balance chasing you when you do. This monthly number can be a mask for how hard it is to get out. So next time you hear, it's only 30 to 40 more a month, you do not need to argue or get defensive. Just say, okay, how much does that add to the amount financed? And what will I still owe after a year? And what would this car actually sell for? Those 3 questions turn the lights on. And once the lights are on, the monthly only lens stops working.